Today, the role of Bruce Willis will be played by my dad. Sitting around the breakfast nook, my mother, carefully folding into herself, hands softening around the undone patchwork resting on her palms, my father's tongue, a blunt device made heavier by the weight of his native dialect. He yelled at her, "Bakit, why? Why can't you do these simple things I tell you to do?" English words are unable to hold my father's passion. Maybe this is why my mother chose to fall out of language when she asked him, "Do you want to hit me?" He collapsed into a hard pause, counterbalanced by a man's stubborn need to be the right one, to win. "No," he told her, his jaw tightening to a pulse. Walking away, her face reduced to dull pallor. Later that day, he took us to the movies and let me choose. I leveraged the morning's incidents to one with an R rating. 2 hours into watching it, Bruce Willis gruffing his way through implausible feats of bullet dodging and populist machismo. He finds his wife assumed dead in the middle of a snowy airfield, and acceptable man tears begin to well up on his face as he holds her tightly in his arms. My father, sitting next to me, stumbles into a gracious attempt at wiping the tears that had begun welling up in his own eyes. The laughter my mother was carefully stifling pistoned into a mild snort. "Umiyak ka ba? Are you crying?" my mother asks. Resigned, he helplessly flails his arms towards the screen. "His wife," he said. He thought he lost his wife. I'm tired of following my dreams, man. I'm just gonna ask them where they're going and hook up with them later. Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah.
What makes a comedy? One part is an audience who recognizes it only through its titillating factors. And the other is a comedian who understands that this is our most fully realized expression of grief. Joke's on you. Suppose comedy bases itself inside of a flaw, a narrow crease tucked away inside of a constricted artery. The great joke of your heart, Mitch. It was made to fail. When he died, the bender took him all the way to March 29th, 3 days short of the punchline. Or maybe not. In 1989, a long-haired fry cook living in his first apartment opens a fridge with no food. He pulls an ice tray out the freezer and calls it dinner. Tells his roommate, "Check it out, man. I'm an ice sculptor." "What you sculpt?" his roommate asks. He pulls his hair away from his face, a curtain opening for his wide-mouthed grin. He looks at his roommate and says, "I made cubes." What makes something funny? The part of me that knows how to answer this question is a place that is completely devoid of humor. We work in a language that falls out of form, propped upon consonants uncertain in their identity. A consonant is defined by an obstruction of breath. A vowel is breath. The syllable is a sliver of life, but the word is duplicitous. The word is racked by double and half meanings. So is this why, when they told you that the lady was called heroin, you swore she'd save your life? Suppose that in the realm of deductive reasoning, comedy is what you would call the fallacy affirming the disjunct. One speedball cocktail, a congenital heart. Still living, not dead yet. Therefore, stick a needle in the vein that doesn't twitch. Why grow old anyway? The world is filled with old men who talked about following their dreams, who realized too late that their dreams were sick of following them. According to his friends, to pull a Mitch, one must sneak out the back door without saying goodbye to anyone. I want to do this last poem. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for letting me read here. Yeah. This is how the city welcomes us. Into its arms of blank pages playing minor chords along its open elbows, and I love you in this city. The God, I love you in this city that can make romance out of the hiss, bursting from a freshly cracked bottle of your favorite beer. This mashup city. This composite scar harmony city, this channel flicker switch of a city where every morning love is scraping an extra hour from the shelter of your spine. The way you pull me across all this concrete bottles the world inside of a city block. How the fuck we end up here anyway? One more night inside the low tide of your slumber and I'm wiping the entire week off my blackboard chest. I feel safe here. The weighted empty of my hands speak encryption. 8,000 miles, the distance between Manila and Chicago slowly collapsing inside of an Oakland bedroom. How unlikely this should all be. How less imposing those numbers become across the wet crook of your neck. I'm a mourning of my grandfather's lost memories of home, the rolling parchment of your grandmother's skin. I'll wake up to all this history wrapped in the open veil of your body, this seed, this push, this split silt, how we become built by a blood procession of so many hands pulling plow over poverty, and I don't want to be anywhere else. So what are we about to do with all this love here? They said love is supposed to conquer all things. But we've been living in this shit economy. Wonder what the fuck is love conquering now? But I love you in this city. Dear God, I love you in this city. Aborted windows and missing unemployment checks. This partition city. This open-air crack house city, this dream-severed city, if I can still love you through this skylight, sweltering, drumline pavement, city of echoing footsteps, if I can still love you through this city, when it's a fistful of last chances, waving off the last round of eviction notices, this city that has all break and marrow and gutted promise, this city, with its quake, its thundered hum, its torch-lit streets, this city, that speaks to its young as if it's already burdened them to the language of kindling, this city. That falls so preciously short of loving us the way we love it, and yet we still keep tearing at the city's fist for its plum roots, and yet we still keep shaking the steel trees for fruits.